It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
Hi everyone, welcome into our show. One of the questions that we get asked most often on our website, our Facebook page, Twitter feed, via email is, how do I catch fish in muddy water conditions? You know, we've had a lot of rain in the last few weeks around much of our south and southwest regions, and that's created some really murky or even muddy water conditions. On today's show, I'm going to spend some time talking you through some of the techniques, some of the gear that you'll need to successfully find and catch, particularly bass, in muddy water conditions. Now, I found a lake that's pretty dang murky. This lake has received a lot of water lately. It's got about 6-inch visibility. It's cloudy and overcast right now, so you really can't see that. But we're going to employ some of these techniques, show you how to catch them on your favorite lake, river, stream. In between all of that, we're taking you around your local region for your fishing reports from your local lakes, rivers, and bays from our expert team of insider reporters. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay with us right now. Let's get this thing started back at the FSN studios. Here's your weekend planner.
You're going to like what the Salooner tables are forecasting for game fish activity this weekend. Saturday's conditions are predicted to be some of the best of the month, with peak times beginning early in the morning. Sunday is listed as excellent, with the best opportunities happening around noon and again at midnight. The sun will rise at 6:28 and set at 8:37. And if you like night fishing, the news gets even better because we'll have a full moon on Saturday. Stay with us. All of your fishing updates from around the Southwest are on the way. And I'll return with elite angler Keith Combs for the Whataburger Ask the Pro. Back in a bit.
Oh, I got one. Whoa, that feels like a good pull right there. Man. Trying a new rod and reel today for the first time, a little combo. I'll show it to you later on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature. It's doing a good job so far. Got Stren's 17-pound original line on here. It's acting like it's something other than a bass. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a catfish. Oh, shit. I have a real problem here. Fish has buried this hook past the barb. So I've got a hook in my finger, buried past the barb, but I got a big catfish on here. So what we're gonna have to do is, we're showing this fish here, but we're gonna turn the camera off and I'm gonna see if I can get this hook out of my finger, and then we'll turn this fish back and see if we can get things going again. Stay with us, got a little problem here. We'll be back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Lew's, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing. And by Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate.
There, got one. No monster, but something to get it going. Come aboard, you rascal, you. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors today. Since you've seen me last, things have taken a little unplanned detour. There's a good bass for you right there. How about that? Nice little largemouth, and back he goes. Here's the detour. That. The hook you saw me get embedded in my hand actually caused a trip to the emergency room. Why? Because it buried it so deep that it actually got right down and went right in next to the bone. So we had to do a little surgery. We had to get a orthopedic doctor in there and do a little surgery and a little cutting and all that kind of thing, but we got it taken care of. And I learned a couple of 3 quick valuable lessons. #1, I'm gonna start using a net a lot more. I tried to hand over hand that fish in the boat, and that was the wrong thing to do. Secondly, if you do find yourself with a hook embedded, don't be too quick to try to get it out. I was about to use the monofilament line popping technique that got so popular on YouTube, but I'm glad I didn't, because I really could have messed some things up with it embedded that deeply. And thirdly, but I cut this hook off with as much of the shank of that hook still attached as I possibly could. If I had cut it off way down here, the doctor wouldn't have had anything to work with. So I left him as much room as I possibly could and cut that hook off just below the eye with a pair of wire cutters, and saved myself some additional heartache at the ER. All right, let's get back to what we were talking about though, the important stuff. Every good preacher's got 3 good points to his sermon. Our points are go big, go loud, and go bright or go dark. Let's first talk about go big. You want to use a big profile bait. Why? That water's dark, it's murky. You want to use the largest bait possible. That's a big crankbait, it's almost 3 inches long. There's a little normal size crankbait that's about 2 inches. So you want to stay with that bigger profile, bigger shadow moving through the water, bigger size. A big, shadowy, dark spinnerbait will work real well, but that's a large size. That's about almost a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait right there, and a big plastic worm, and I'm going to show you a big 10, 12-inch plastic worm later. Go big, create a big profile in the water, something large for those fish to home in on. Your chances dramatically increase of getting bit. Hey, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports to get this show started right now, and let's get you to Louisiana with Cajun Phil and Kevin.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Louisiana Outdoor Report. We're going to talk saltwater fishing. We're talking summertime action on Calcasieu Lake. The bite right now is turning over to live shrimp over oyster reefs, mainly under a popping cork. Early you get a few birds working, a little later in the day, I tell you what, you can hit some shallow marshes, catch a few redfish. I tell you what, they're the real wet fishing team. Went out there, we had a great day today. We kept 40 trout, a few redfish, and a flounder. We let go a few big redfish and tons of speckled trout. Right now we're going to turn it over to Cajun Phil, and let's see what's going on the freshwater scene.
Thanks, Captain Kevin. I tell you what, friends, as far as the bass fishing scene goes, well, we got inundated by rain here in the Lake Charles area, and I tell you what, it has got the Calcasieu River so muddy right now. I think it's going to be several weeks before it even clears up, because it is a mess right now. I'm telling you, it's high and it's muddy. So I would knock off, say, don't go to the Calcasieu River right now as one of the areas to go fishing. As far as the marsh areas go, the rain did help that, because the water was getting low, vegetation was getting thick. Now we got a lot of water in the marsh. It's a little bit above the grass. Now instead of having to throw a spoon or an unweighted plastic, you can throw now spinner baits and other baits in the marsh area. So Lacassine Reserve right now would be a pretty good place to consider going to try to catch some bass. They're also still catching lots of brim in Lacassine Reserve right now, mostly chickapin, mostly on live worms, but I tell you what, brim action, bass action, Lacassine Reserve would be a good bet.
There's one. Nice jump right there. Come up here, baby. See, this water's muddy, and there's actually water still flowing in over the low water dam right there. It's a good bass. Man, got a mouthful of crankbait. There we go. All right. There's your good bass right there. Welcome back, everybody, to Fox Sports Outdoors. We're talking today about, find my pliers here real quick, how to catch muddy or murky water bass. That fish right there is going to require a little surgery, and I've already had one operation today, so I really don't want another one. There's your good bass right there. Man, he's still strong. Stop it. Stop fighting so much. Good night. Let's get him back. Hurry, hurry. Okay, now that we're rid of that bucking bronco, let's talk about the second principle for catching bass in murky or muddy water conditions. We talked about going big. Secondly, let's talk about going loud. You want to create a lot of movement and vibration in the water column. You do that by using a crankbait that's, number one, big in size, but number two, has a big wide bill. That's that Strike King 2.5 KVD square bill crankbait, and as you can see, it's got a big wide bill on it there. It wobbles back and forth in the water, and every time it wobbles, it creates a pulse in the water column. The other way you can do it's with a big spinnerbait. Now, this spinnerbait is the Strike King tour grade spinnerbait. It's got a big flashy or a big chartreuse painted blade, but what I did was I cut the Colorado blade in front of it off. You want a single blade to create the most vibration in the water. It's like a tire on your car that's out of balance, and it just rotates and goes whomp, 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 and every time it rotates, puts off a pulse or a vibration in the water. The bass can home in and sense that even in the muddiest water conditions. That's how they feed at night as well. So go big, Secondly, go loud. Put off a lot of vibration in the water. Hey, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports. Let's go to Oklahoma, and here's Gary Dollahan.
Hey, a couple of years ago, Scott and Lena Porter of Shamrock, Texas won a fishing trip on this program. We fished together on Fort Gibson Lake, had a ball. We've stayed in touch ever since that outing. In fact, Scott is my good source for giving me updates on the fishing in western Oklahoma, and I appreciate that. Well, they made a recent return trip to Fort Gibson Lake. I jumped in the boat with them one afternoon. They can both still catch them. We had a lot of fun together. Now, we caught some white bass, jigging that spoon, 12 to 14 foot of water on top of the flats. But Scott said their best luck on the days while they were there were catching those white bass in the upper column of water, main lake areas, casting and trolling rooster tails. That's not uncommon for this time of year. Now, in many places across the state, we do have water levels that are either up or coming up because of the recent rains, and we're extremely thankful for that. But you know, when it gets like that, the fishing can get tough because a lot of times those fish won't go to the bank, but they do stay out in that open water. You can catch them in the shallow column of the upper surface, just like Scott and Lena were doing at Fort Gibson Lake by using baits like the rooster tail or small crappie jigs that you're casting and retrieving back across the surface. Rattle trap's also a good option for that. I've also had a number of friends say that their pond fishing has died because the vegetation growth has come to the surface, makes it almost impossible to get a bait through there. But you know what? This is a great time of year to catch those fish in those ponds by throwing something top water that's weedless. Two really good choices for that: a floating frog, and use a big hook in that. Use a 4/0 or a 5/0 hook in it, also a big worm. Fish both of those, no weight, just a big hook on there. Long cast with them, pull it back across the top of that vegetation. Man, that is fun when those bass blow up through that stuff. You can catch a lot of fish doing that. You're gonna miss a lot of fish, but it's a great time. Wonderful time to be fishing in Oklahoma. One thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. By Nitro Performance Fishing Boats, welcome to the big leagues. By Fort Worth Nissan, Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan. And by Whataburger. Get your day started at Whataburger with the new jalapeno cheddar biscuit.
Right there. I've got one. Boy, he hammered it right after it hit the water. Nice jump. Wow, what an acrobat. He nearly jumped in the boat right there. There we go, I got him. All right, how about that for a good bass right there? Welcome back, everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors. Talking about your 3 principles today for catching bass in murky or muddy water conditions. If I can get up here to you, I'll show you that bass, number 1. There you go. So that's a great bass right there, and kind of a skinny looking fish. We'll let him go back. All right, let's talk about your 3rd principle for catching bass in murky or muddy water conditions. Let's talk color a little bit. Talked about going big, we talked about going loud. Let's talk about going either real bright or real dark, but nowhere in between. So you want to go with a real bright chartreuse type of a color. There's a bright chartreuse, a bright green, a bright orange will work, and fluorescents work best. Now, the other thing you can do is go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and that bass hit a plastic worm, but it's a real dark one. As you can see, that's a real dark tequila sunrise or purple color. You can use blacks, browns, grays. Anything in that dark spectrum works real well, but you want to stay on the far opposite contrast of the color spectrum. Don't go in the middle. Stay away from watermelon, pumpkin, your little pinks, your whites, all of those colors in the middle. Stay away from those in muddy or murky water. Either go really dark, really bright, nowhere in between. Hey, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your local lakes, rivers, and bays. Let's check in with Brian Hughes and your Texas freshwater fishing report, followed by Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, on this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Backlash Offshore, I'm here at a boat ramp to remind you that Texas Parks and Wildlife has expanded the zebra mussel prevention program. What was in place on just a few of our northern lakes has now been expanded to the entire state as of July 1st. The program says that you must clean, drain, and dry your boat before you leave the lake. Now, there are some exceptions. You'll need to know what those are. I'll give you a couple of examples. If you're in a fishing tournament and you have launched at this ramp and weigh-in is somewhere else, you may transport your bass with water in the live well to the weigh-in site. However, you'll have to dispose of it later in a proper fashion. Also, if you're leaving this ramp to go and launch on another spot on this same lake on the same day, you're also okay. However, any other time you leave a ramp, if you're going home for the day, you must clean, drain, and dry your boat. That's a new law. You'll want to know more. Check out the website. You'll find all the information there. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Backlash Offshore. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. You'll find him on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, as we approach the end of the first third of July, we wonder if we should fish like it's July or more like early June. Winds continue to be fickle and sometimes have a westerly influence. Now, when light out of the southeast, fishing's been very good. Plus, the air temperature on the coast is running about 5 to 9 degrees cooler than average. Bird action on Sabine Lake continues to be on and off. Hit it right and some very good fish are underneath that bird activity. Lower Trinity and Galveston Bay reefs are holding fish. So is Chocolate Bay and the surrounding channels. Now the mid-bay reefs of East Matagorda and the guts around the grass beds of West Matagorda are holding both trout and redfish. Live bait, soft plastics, or the new voodoo mullet are good options around grassy areas. The reefs in San Antonio Bay are giving up trout to those waiting on top early or fishing the deeper ends during the heat of the day. Mud and trailer islands are finally hitting their stride for those fishing croaker. The Laguna Shore grass beds and the King Ranch shoreline are other good options. Now, anglers fishing the jetties at Port Mansfield's East Cut and South Padre have been rewarded with a variety of fish. Trout, redfish, mangrove snapper, and ling have been caught. Small tarpon and kingfish are around the Farewell buoys at South Padre. Anglers fishing offshore have caught a variety of pelagics at rigs and weed lines. Look for offshore fishing to improve mid-month when the Gulf shrimp season reopens. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Mercury Marine, celebrating 75 years of marine excellence. By Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. And by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Whataburger Ask the Pro, where viewers get expert insight from professional anglers. This week's question comes from Steven, who asks, what is the one must-have bait? For the answer, we checked with Bassmaster Elite Angler Keith Cohn.
When all else fails, the lure that I go to is a Strike King KVD 1.5 in Tennessee shad. I don't know what it is about that bait. It's one that I can cover a lot of water with. I can pick it up and just go down a riprap bank. I can go down a grass line. You know, I can catch them in a lot of different scenarios. But that is one bait that I can flat put them in the boat with, and it catches big ones. So KVD 1.5 Tennessee shad is my #1 go-to color.
Thanks, Keith. If you have something to ask one of the pros, go to our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
This week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest is Craig Cordova of Austin, Texas, and he's showing an 11.82-pound largemouth bass he caught at Lake Austin. Also, we've got some bonus photos for you. These are not winners in the contest, but there's been a run on big bass at Lake Austin. Eric Carter showing a 10-pounder, Juan De La Fuente a 10-pounder, Corey Ingdale a 7-pounder, Gene Henderson an 8, Laurie Hill an 8-pounder, Robert Hoker a 5-pounder, and Aaron McComas also with a 10-pound largemouth bass. If you would like to enter our Costa Catch of the Week contest and have a chance to win a brand new pair of sunglasses, All you have to do is go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. On the right-hand side of the front page is the Costa Catch of the Week box. Click in there, follow the instructions, send us your photo, and you could win your very own free pair. And if you want to see all the Costa frame and lens styles, go back to the front page of the website, click on the Costa logo, and you can see all of the frames and lenses, including the frames I was wearing this week called Cabalito. This week on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, I'm very excited about a brand new rod and reel combo set just introduced to the market by the folks at Lew's. It's the American Hero rod and reel combos. These are factory matched rods and reels that come together in one package. Get this, this is the high-end American Hero rod and reel set, and they're available in the bait casting models for well under $100, and the spinning combos are available for around $60 to $70. Amazing value, factory matched rod and reel combo, and again, a proceed from all of these American Hero rod and reel purchases go to help take some of our returning veterans fishing. What a great cause. Just a few days ago, I went to the dermatologist and he had to cut and burn off several places around my face and arms, hands, and those types of things. That comes from years spent outdoors. And that's with all of the safeguards. Every time I go fishing, you see me wearing long sleeves, long pants. I cover myself well in 100 SPF sunscreen. I wear a hat, I wear sunglasses. I try to get all the protection from the sun that I possibly can. But you know what? Everybody gets to choose what they want to do. I know somebody who guides for a living, fishes every day of his life, has never used sunscreen one time. I also know the gentleman who was involved in inventing the very first sunscreen ever introduced to the market. Our own Gary Dollahan, our Oklahoma insider reporter, was with the company that originally introduced sunscreen to the fishing market. I choose to use all the protection I possibly can. I highly recommend that you do that because I can promise you that there are consequences to pay if you don't. One little word of wisdom to the wise. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode teaching you some keys, some tips and techniques on how to catch bass the next time your local lake or river muddies up from the influx of rain. Go big, go loud, go dark or bright, and you will increase your chances of catching more bass. Hey, I hope you'll watch our show next week. We'll be on at 10:30 Thursday night with the repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. Be sure and catch our Twitter feed. We put lots of photos, videos, information, fishing news, all the latest on our Twitter feed at the address on your screen. We do still have our Facebook page up. If you want to see all of our past episodes, we've simplified that. Go right to the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. You'll see the latest episode 24/7 right on the front page, and right under that, you'll see a link to all of our past episodes. You can always catch up now right on our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Until next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all. How about that?